Reclaiming control from the silent director. In your mind, Buddhist wisdom. You're walking down the street. Your thoughts are tangled, fleeting, constantly shifting. Suddenly you overhear a comment about your work from someone passing by, and anxiety rushes in. Is everything okay? Am I being judged? Am I going to fail? Your mind immediately starts replaying the worst possible scenarios. You imagine yourself failing, disappointing others, and feeling alone. The world around you fades into the background. As these thoughts take over, it feels as if your mind is in the driver's seat, and you've lost control. But here's the shocking truth. These thoughts aren't real. They are just stories your mind has created over many years, based on fear, doubt, and past experiences. These illusory thoughts, deeply rooted in your subconscious, are not your true essence, and they don't define your reality. In this article, we will explore these illusory thoughts, uncovering how they subtly shape your life without you even realizing it. We will also discuss how you can regain control of your mind and free yourself from the invisible forces that have controlled your thoughts, actions, and emotions up until now. At the core of these illusory thoughts is an intriguing aspect of how the human mind works, the ability of thoughts and perceptions to create illusions, distorting the reality we experience. These thoughts are not just ordinary concerns or worries. They are deeply ingrained mental patterns, formed over time, shaped by unresolved fears, past experiences, and misunderstandings. These thoughts don't only reflect the present. They are influenced by memories and past experiences, and the way we interpret and perceive them. Imagine your mind as a television. Every day, it continuously broadcasts different shows, stories about you, your abilities, and what you can or cannot do. However, these broadcasts are not always accurate or clear. Instead of showing you a realistic picture of life, they air messages that may be distorted, outdated, or confusing. Have you ever wondered if you should change the channel? In fact, these illusory thoughts are like those distorted TV shows, warping your perception of reality and making it harder to see the full picture. For example, you walk into a room full of people and immediately feel as if all eyes are on you. You might think that everyone is judging you, but this doesn't necessarily reflect their thoughts or actions. It's how your mind is reacting, how you're perceiving the situation through your filter. These thoughts, though possibly stemming from a past experience, do not accurately reflect the present. Perhaps you were criticized in a similar situation before, and now your mind continues to replay that feeling in unrelated scenarios. The real issue is not the world around you or the people in that room. The important factor is how your mind perceives and interprets the situations, emotions, and experiences you're going through. These illusory thoughts are like tinted glasses, preventing you from clearly seeing what's truly happening. When we fail to recognize that we're looking through these filters, we easily get lost in the imaginary scenarios our minds create. In reality, these thoughts are not objective truth. They are mere illusions created by the mind. And only when you become aware of them can you begin to break free from their control. Identifying and understanding the nature of these illusory thoughts is the first step toward changing how you perceive and react to the world around you. So, where do these illusory thoughts come from? How do they become so deeply rooted in our consciousness? The answer lies in the natural tendency of the human mind to create mental shortcuts based on past experiences. These shortcuts, known as cognitive biases, can deeply affect how we perceive reality. leading to distorted conclusions and illusions about what is actually happening. One of the most powerful biases our minds have is the tendency to focus more on negative experiences than positive ones. This is a self-protective mechanism where our minds are particularly sensitive to signs of danger or rejection, making us more likely to remember failures and painful situations than moments of success. When you faced rejection or failure in the past, your mind may be programmed to automatically predict these negative events will happen again, even in situations where there is no clear evidence of danger. As a result, instead of simply assessing the present situation, your mind may start thinking in extremes, creating illusory scenarios about what might happen based on past events you've experienced. This can lead to a cycle of anxiety or fear, where your thoughts no longer reflect the truth, but are simply the products of a psychological filter designed for self-protection. However, it is very easy for this filter to create misunderstandings and illusions. You may worry about failing or being rejected, even when there is no reason to think that way in the present moment. Another key factor in the formation of illusory thoughts is unconscious conditioning. These behaviors, beliefs, and mental patterns formed from childhood continue to shape how we respond in present situations. These unconscious thoughts and reactions do not always reflect the current reality accurately, but are often based on long-established patterns from the past. They can come from family, culture, or personal experiences you absorbed growing up. Although these influences may no longer be overt, they subtly control how you interpret every situation in your life. Let's illustrate this with a simple example. You walk into a party and immediately your mind starts racing with negative thoughts. I'm not good enough to be here, or they won't like me. This is not an objective reflection of reality. It is the product of your mind, formed by past experiences of rejection, or times when you doubted yourself. These thoughts are based on fears from the past that you haven't fully resolved. And although you may not be facing any judgment in the present moment, they still linger in your mind. These thoughts are illusions, with no actual basis in the current situation, but they can control your actions and emotions. When you begin to realize that these thoughts are just products of your own mental filter, you can learn to face them without letting them take control. This opens up the possibility for you to live more freely, liberated from the mental prisons built by past experiences. The role of the mind in shaping reality. The human mind possesses immense power. It not only has the ability to create thoughts, but also to shape our perceptions of reality. In fact, the mind determines how we see the world around us and profoundly influences our actions. However, when we let illusory thoughts take control of our minds, they become a distorted mirror, reflecting a warped version of the world. Imagine you're in a social situation, perhaps a meeting, a party, or simply chatting with a group of friends. Suddenly, your mind starts asking, "Do they think I'm awkward?" That sense of unease begins to grow, and before you realize it, your mind is creating more worst-case scenarios. Did I say something wrong? These negative thoughts escalate, leading to feelings of tension and anxiety. The room full of people in front of you begins to feel pressuring, and you may even feel as though you're being threatened. In reality, these worries are often baseless. The people around you might not be judging you at all. Or if they are, it's only your subjective perception. This feeling of anxiety doesn't come from the situation itself. It's created by your mind, a belief that you're being judged. The problem isn't the situation, but the distorted lens through which you're viewing it. You're looking at the world through illusions created by your mind, which makes you feel pressured and judged, even though there's nothing like that happening. Once you begin to recognize how your mind generates these illusory thoughts, you'll realize that you can control how you respond. Awareness is the key to not being swept away by negative and unrealistic thoughts. Instead of letting these illusory thoughts lead the way, you can start living in the present, observing and analyzing your thoughts objectively. This will not only help you understand how your mind works, but also allow you to adjust your perceptions and avoid getting lost in self-created illusions. When you begin to live with full awareness of your thoughts, you'll recognize that these illusions are temporary and can easily be overcome. You'll no longer feel controlled by irrational worries, and you'll be able to act from a clearer and more grounded state of mind. Living with awareness, the first step to freedom. Living with awareness isn't just about existing in each moment, it's about fully embracing it. It means paying attention to your thoughts, emotions, and actions, understanding them without getting swept up in them. Mindfulness is the art of living in the present moment and understanding how your mind operates. It's where real transformation occurs, where you begin to find true freedom. When you become aware of your thoughts, they no longer have the power to control you. Instead of reacting immediately to negative emotions like frustration or anxiety, you can observe them without judgment. You can see them as simple, temporary events, not as permanent truths. This helps you break free from the control of illusory thoughts, recognizing them for what they truly are, rather than accepting them as absolute truths. Imagine walking down the street and suddenly feeling a wave of fear. Your mind begins racing with thoughts about what could go wrong. Maybe you worry about making a mistake, or think of the worst things that could happen. At that moment, you have a choice. You can continue to dive into the fear, letting it control you. Or you can take a step back and observe your thoughts without reacting. This creates a space between you and your emotions, preventing you from getting caught in negative scenarios. Through practicing mindfulness, we create a space between ourselves and our thoughts, rather than being puppets in the hands of negative thinking. We begin to see that thoughts are like clouds, they come and go. While we don't have absolute control over them, we can choose not to hold on to them. When you stop clinging to these thoughts, the sky, your mind's true nature, remains clear and vast. Thoughts may come and go like clouds, but the sky of your mind remains an open, free space. It is through awareness and observation that you can change how you respond to the world around you. You are no longer a victim of your thoughts, but someone who controls them, choosing to live with clarity and freedom. Disidentifying with thoughts, a key to freedom. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is the realization you are not your thoughts. Thoughts are merely fleeting mental events. They arise, then disappear, but they do not define you. When you truly understand that your thoughts are not your true essence, you'll break free from the control of illusory thoughts, and then you'll be able to live more freely. Imagine facing a stressful situation, feeling pressure due to negative thoughts about your work performance. Maybe you worry that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, or that you'll be criticized. These thoughts start to spiral in your mind, causing stress and anxiety. But here's the key. Through mindfulness, you realize these thoughts are just imagined products, not realities. They're merely temporary reactions from your mind, not reflections of your true nature. When you recognize that you are not your thoughts, you can step outside of them. you can observe them from a different perspective. By taking a deep breath and focusing on the present moment, you allow these thoughts to come and go, without clinging to them. This simple act of not identifying with your thoughts creates a profound sense of freedom. You no longer feel controlled by negative thoughts or self-blame. When you stop letting thoughts control you, you choose to live in the present moment. You're no longer dependent on the distortions created by past fears or future anxieties. Instead, you become an observer, aware, proactive in how you respond to life. In doing so, you are no longer a victim of the mental stories that once controlled you, but the master of your emotions and thoughts. Insight meditation, seeing through the illusion. Vipassana meditation is a practice that helps us enhance our awareness of the psychological processes within our minds. The goal of insight meditation isn't to stop thoughts from arising, but to observe them without attachment, not allowing them to control your emotions or actions. Insight meditation doesn't require you to eliminate thoughts, but it helps you develop the ability to recognize and face them objectively, without reacting. By practicing insight meditation regularly, you will gradually learn to recognize the impermanence of thoughts. Thoughts are like waves on the surface of the ocean. They rise and fall, but the ocean remains unchanged. Your mind is like the vast, calm ocean, while thoughts are simply fleeting waves. When you observe your thoughts in this way, you will notice that they are not eternal truths, but temporary phenomena that come and go. Through this, you can begin to see through the illusions of identity and mental narratives you've constructed. Insight meditation helps you recognize that thoughts are temporary phenomena, not permanent truths. They are not your true nature. When you observe your thoughts without clinging to them, you will gain greater clarity about the true nature of your mind. Instead of being swept away by thoughts and emotions, you become the observer, holding peace and stability from a certain distance. Practicing insight meditation leads to inner peace and clarity. When you no longer get caught up in your thoughts, you will experience a deeper connection with the present moment and with yourself. Negative thoughts and anxieties will no longer control you, and you will begin to live a freer life, unbound by the illusions in your mind. Insight meditation not only brings inner calm, but also empowers you to respond calmly and wisely to life. Living with clarity, the path to true freedom. Once you start recognizing illusory thoughts and stop identifying with them, a profound transformation begins to take place in your life. You will start to live with greater clarity and purpose, no longer reacting from fear, self-doubt, or past wounds. Future anxieties or feelings of inadequacy will no longer dominate you. Instead, you will respond to life from the present moment, where you can choose to act wisely and consciously. Living with clarity means being fully aware of your mind's activities and understanding that thoughts and emotions are temporary phenomena. It's about living with intention, not reacting automatically, but participating in life in a way that truly reflects your authentic self. As you practice mindfulness, you begin to make decisions not based on negative thoughts or anxiety, but on a deep awareness of the present moment and your core values. This clarity will help you engage more fully with the world around you, connect with others in a more genuine way, and make choices that align with your deepest values. You will no longer be swept away by a stream of negative thoughts or self-illusions. Instead, you will act from a place of clarity and freedom, where you are no longer controlled by irrational emotions or thoughts. You will have the ability to live a life where you are completely in charge, no longer dependent on automatic emotional reactions. Living with clarity not only brings personal freedom, but also helps you harmonize with the world around you and create deep, authentic relationships. When you live from this place of awareness and freedom, you will feel aligned with yourself and the values you hold dear. The concept of illusory thoughts is not just about recognizing negative thought patterns, but also understanding that these illusions can affect every aspect of your life, from personal relationships to career decisions. As you begin to become more aware of these thoughts, without reacting to them, you will gradually open up to building authentic connections with others and experiencing life free from the cloud of fear or judgment. Illusory thoughts don't only influence how you interact with others, but they also profoundly shape how you perceive yourself. They can make you believe that you are less capable, less valuable, or even incapable of achieving your goals. These illusions may trap you in false beliefs about yourself that don't truly reflect your abilities or nature. Once you become aware of this influence, you will have the power to challenge these negative beliefs and replace them with a clearer, more truthful view of who you are. You will see that you have the ability to accomplish great things and deserve the success and happiness you seek. Absolute freedom comes from the awareness that you have the power to choose how you react to your thoughts, instead of letting them control your life. You no longer have to be a victim of automatic thinking, but you can take control of how you respond and act. This awareness gives you the power to create your own reality, free from the limitations of past experiences, negative conditioning, or imagined futures. You will begin to realize that you can live the life you truly desire, free from the negative thoughts and emotions that have held you back. When you fully understand that thoughts are merely fleeting mental events, you will feel liberated, able to create a life full of meaning and freedom. Now that you understand how illusory thoughts shape your reality, imagine what your life would look like if you were no longer controlled by them. How would you live if you could simply observe your thoughts without letting them dominate you? As you begin practicing awareness, you will break free from the chains of fear, self-doubt, and past experiences. These forces have held you back for so long, but now you can choose to free yourself from them. The power to break free from the illusions in your mind is in your hands. The journey of self-discovery begins with recognizing that you are not your thoughts. You are not the emotions or anxieties that your mind creates. Once you truly grasp this, you will begin to live a life of clarity, freedom, and authenticity, no longer controlled by baseless illusions. Are you ready to take control of your mind and live the life you deserve? It's time to embark on this journey, the journey to true freedom. When you begin to live with awareness and clarity, you will become the master of your mind, no longer bound by negative thoughts and emotions. Step onto this path and move forward into a fuller life, where you are free to decide, free to live, and free to be your true self.